vertical hold, 1967. A rising storm pushed smoke from a burn pile down the road, across the yard, and up through the last hard-headed acorns of a red oak. The boy shuffled his feet where he thought the foul line should be, and stared at a hoop nailed to a chipped square of plywood hung from a telephone pole, leaning and disused. He tried to ignore cars whipping down Route 8, the sting of leaf smoke, taunts from his sister who spun in a tire swing slung over an oak branch, hesitant drops as anvil clouds grew angrier. He narrowed his sight on the front of the rim, on a spot where rusted metal glared through a gash in orange paint. When he hurled up the ball, the boy didn't follow its arc through gray air, but, bouncing from foot to foot, keeping his eyes on the rickety hoop, watched his shot pinball on the rim, and waited to know on what ground his prayer would fall. So I've always had very interesting haircuts. And this is, ironically a haircut poem. I grew up in what I consider the golden age of the house party movies. I don't know if those will be familiar to many of you. The title tells you everything about the content of the movie and about its level of seriousness. But it featured a hip-hop duo called Kid and Play, and my haircut was modeled after Kid, so it was sort of a tall box on top of and my father would cut this haircut one Friday a month before school dances. Affection. One Friday a month, my father pulled clippers, walls, from a worn shoebox to tighten my fade before the school dance. The cut was accomplished with an economy of words and movement. I'd sit quietly under his hand, listening to the electric hum of the walls while his precise strokes sent flurries of curls to the bathroom floor, and his light touch on my chin rotated the angle of my head left or right, up or down. When he bent the tops of my ears flat to shave behind them, I'd start scraping fingernails against my thighs, the full power of gravity keeping me in the red folding chair until a gruff, "How's it look?" and I'd shoot up to preen from the mirror and inspect. Once satisfied, I'd stamp up to my room to dress for the night, while downstairs, my father swept 4 weeks' worth of hair from the floor tiles, the whisk of the corn broom over linoleum sounding softly as the cradle song that a child heavy with sleep only half hears. So every 7 days I sit in middle school meeting and I stare out at these Bible quotes. And especially in Your Young Men Shall See Visions, I've tried and tried again to write a poem about that line. And I finally had this experience of being in a park and I was watching these boys at play, and they said something that you'll see in the poem, and I was like, this is finally the moment where I can use this line, which is my way of saying that I find not only what's written on the walls of the school, but life within our school community very inspiring, and I'm very thankful for that. And your young men shall see visions. Growing up, the girls, black and white, only played with rosy-skinned dolls, blondes at that, never brunettes. Walking to McGolrick Park, I see a black doll, a clump of her braids caught in the razor wire of a shuttered tile store. Kitchen and bath, its grimy galvanized security door locked this Sunday morning. On a park bench, Naomi and I sit with her brother and eat an apple pie we've carried from the other side of the BQE, under 18-wheelers barraging down the viaduct. Crust and glazed filling are surprisingly warm, given our trek, like the day, late November, is warm, surprisingly. 6 boys play tackle with a football that's too fat for their hands, and the team with the biggest boy, cornrows out, hair hanging to his shoulders, seems to score a touchdown every time. A pigeon flock wheels overhead and talking not to each other, but to their Pomeranian, either a scold or a coo, A scruffy young couple brunches on a ragged quilt under nearly unclad plane trees, while old poles straggle home from church. 10 feet behind them, a trail of daughters dressed in black and smoking, husbandless and cloudy as the day should be. The boys have shifted to a leaf pile across the park. Yawps and shrieks of their wrestling rise through scattered seed clusters, still swaying on mottled limbs, and meet the pigeons as they dip and veer. When the big boy yells, "Let's bury us and come up in 10 minutes," they agree, the smaller boys, flopping into the mound, rustling down toward the softening ground, the mud there, my own autumns tell me, bearing the shape, the lobes and teeth, the veins of broad and fallen leaves.